Hello everybody and welcome to race 1 of Golf Procar for the 25-26 season. So qualifying is done and dusted. That means we have a grid packed of cars here. We have, well, a mix of cars here because Procar is quite different to any of the other racing series that we have here because it's multi-class racing, as you can see there. We've got Class 1, which is the Aston Martin Vantage. That's just the left-hand side of your screen there. And then we've got 2 Cup, which is where we see all the Porsche Cup cars. Then we have the Cayman, all by its lonesome, and then we have a handful of Clios, and at the tail end of the field we've got Class 4 as well, which is the Honda DC5. Now, the grid has been cleared, but there seems to be a few cars out of position. I wonder if the stewards will take note of that, and we still have some of the personnel on the grid as well here. And then we just saw Nujera just getting some cool air in the car because, yes, it's winter time here in the United Arab Emirates. However, it's still pretty hot out there, actually. You can really feel the sun burning your skin. I can't imagine what it's like sitting inside these race cars with basically no AC in them. Some of them have ventilation systems. They have tubes that are running from the front of the car all the way into the cabin. But that's very, very uncommon because, of course, it adds weight. You need the car to be as light as possible. Any additional weight, well, that can cost you fractions of a second. And that's what's important in racing, fractions of a second. So this is Golf Procar race number 1. On the right-hand side of your screen, you have Class 1, and the sole car in Class 1 as well. That's the Aston Martin Vantage. And then on the left-hand side is the pole sitter in Class 2, or 2 Cup, where we have Nujera. And there we go. We see some lights turning on, so that means we're about to get ready for our formation lap here around the YAS Marina circuit for race number 1 of Golf Procar here. Now, it's interesting to note there should have been at least 4 other cars on the grid. We did see one of them in qualifying, however, only did 1 lap, and that was one of the Polo Cup Middle East cars, and unfortunately, they've not got out here for that session. So we'll have to find out exactly why they've not made their way out onto track. We'll find that out later on and update you in race number 2. But for now, it's time to go racing for the first time in Golf Procar. The first of 2 races here today. It will be 2 races for them, not like in the Golf Radical Cup, where we'll have 2 races plus a endurance race tomorrow. So first race here, set to get underway at 1:55, and then the next race will take place later on in the evening when it's a little bit cooler at 4:50. So the safety car peels off the grid, and then the cars behind them will obviously peel off behind them as well. So the lights are green, the green flag waves to signify the start here of the formation lap here. We're using the full Grand Prix circuit configuration, just over 5 kilometers in length. The same track, of course, that's used in Formula 1. For those eagle-eyed viewers out there, it's 5.281 kilometers in total. That is the exact amount, and of course, a total of 16 corners for our drivers to navigate here around the YAS Marina circuit. Now, looks like all the cars have got off their grid positions, although it does look like some of the Clios have been shuffled up ever so slightly because Avik Anwar's number 71 is shown on our screens in front of the surrounding Clios. Now, he qualified 2nd in class. There were a number of penalties being dished out for lap deletions for various drivers, and a lot of them came the way of the Clio Cup drivers as well. So that's quite unfortunate for those 2, how they've been relegated to the back of the field because of those infractions. Well, we'll wait and see when the race gets underway as they're on the formation lap now through turn 5 and onto the back straight here for the first time, and hopefully the last time at this speed as well. Will be hopefully green flag racing all the way to the end. A full 25 minutes of racing here for race number 1 in the Golf Procar. Now, the Honda DC5 of Karim Zahura has pulled out of the way and has allowed those 2 Clios past him. So are they retaking their position, or is that just him saying, I don't want to be stuck in that battle, I would rather you 3 battle it out so I can get past all 3 of you at once and not have to deal with you one by one? For the young Karim Zahura, who's racing the same car his dad raced a couple of years ago. And great to see them both part of the paddock area as well. Great to see Dad in the stands and in the paddock area offering last-minute words of wisdom to his son, who of course is looking for more than just racing here in the Golf Procar, looking at the bigger picture. Of course, using Golf Procar as a stepping stone into his future racing career, not just here in the United Arab Emirates, but around the globe as well. So the safety car still pulls the cars around the track here. They're now into Sector 2 and then under safety car regulations. So, through and into Sector 3 here for the final time, fingers crossed, behind the safety car. And it'll be Class 1, 2 Cup, Class 3, Clio Cup and Class 4 are the cars that we have. And hopefully we will see the Polo Cup Middle East join us from the pit lane as well, because only one car got out during qualifying. That was Rahil Taneja, who unfortunately did not get to set a full lap time here to place his Polo Cup Middle East car onto the grid. Instead, they may start from pit lane. Let's wait and see if we get an update on where those 4 cars are. We'd have a great chat with all of them not too long ago about bringing Polo Cup Middle East to the championship here as part of Golf Procar. Great initiative that's run overseas in India. They've brought a number of cars here to race, and it's a real interesting dynamic on how it works. It's not your traditional full season of racing. It's arrive and drive essentially. So for drivers who are looking for, you know, a head start or a better yet, just a start in a series, the Polo Cup Middle East is a great way to do it, a great initiative as well. Just arrive and drive for the weekend. Fantastic. And hopefully we will see the Polo Cup Middle East cars on track shortly, and hopefully we'll still see them come out on once the cars have passed pit exit. So through the final corner now comes the safety car. We've got the Aston Martin Vantage on the right hand side of your pictures, and on the inside is the Class 2 or 2 Cup car of Vincera, who will be starting that car. There's only one driver per car here, one driver per team. It's just a 25-minute race. It's a sprint race at the end of the day, but we're about to get ready here for sprint race number 1 of Golf Procar. Through the final corner we come. There'll be line astern in a 2-file formation. The lights are on, and as soon as they go out, we are racing here for the first time in Golf Procar. Vincera is on the left-hand side, and a great start from one of our 2 Lebanese drivers. That looks like Shark El Amali, who got a great start, but on the inside, just behind him, he's got to be very careful, is Stanislav Minsky in that black and yellow Porsche 992 Cup car. As one of our 2 Lebanese drivers has dropped back. Now, is that the Rawad Saradin car that has dropped back? And great news, we have not 1 extra participant, we have 3 cars that are entering the track now. These are our 3 Volkswagen Polo Cup cars that'll make their way onto the track. Or just swerve, Rahil Taneja and Ritesh Rai join the field now, bringing our total up to 14 cars here around the YAS Marina circuit for Golf Procar. Leka goes into the lead of the race there in the Aston Martin GT3, as he should know, because he's the sole participant in the Class 1 category, ahead of the Giovanni Vincera car and what looks to be the 82, apologies, that has gotten through and into 3rd position. I think Rawad Saradin in the 37 has dropped back and slightly there behind Stanislav Minsky in the 72. Now, did that second Porsche come through? Yes, it did from Raptor Racing, so they're still line astern, riding along with each other. And there is our race leader, the Leka number 7, coming through turn 9 at the moment, with Vincera tucked in behind him for the time being. And Vincera really keeping it honest here as well. Those cars are in 2 different classes, but Vincera number 16 is really sticking to the back bumper there of the Aston Martin, really taking the fight to him and wants an overall victory here. Now, there isn't a podium for overall here in the Golf Procar. There are podiums in the separate categories, but of course beating another class, especially a quicker class, is exactly what Vincera wants to do here. He wants to start his campaign off strong, and by showing his competitors that he is the one to beat in 2 Cup at the moment. There is the 72 with Stanislav Minsky, an occasional presence in Golf Procar, getting some much needed track time in for the endurance races that are up ahead. And great to see Stanislav Minsky back in the championship as well. So we completed 1 lap, and here are Rawad Saradin and Shark El Amali battling with each other. The 82 and 37. They've done a bit of racing in Europe in the off-season as well, raced in Monza together. They really enjoyed their experience and honing their craft here in 2 Cup. And looking for the bigger picture here of endurance racing, we'll be doing the Dubai 24-hour and hopefully the Gulf 12-hour as well, which will take place here in Abu Dhabi next month. Here's a great battle between the 57 and the number 20. That is Karim Zahur, who is behind Roman Tishkanov, who should have been on pole in the class, and that is... well, that boot lid does not look like it is attached very firmly. The stewards might be looking at that and may have to bring that car in as well to ensure that boot does not open up. And that was the battle for the 10th position actually, because Anthony Shanok got through and into 9th position to 2nd in class and is now up behind Avik Anwar. Now back to this battle for 3rd position between Al Amali and Saradin. They're battling through turn 1. Now they're going to take the battle down towards turn 9 here for Raptor Racing. So through the corner they go, slower there for Saladin, but for Amali a personal best through that 2nd sector there and really extending that gap between himself and his compatriot by 0.3 of a second. But once again, Litlaka going quickest through sector 1 and sector 2 with a 24.9 and a 47.749 there for our race leader. It is 0.7 of a second back, already at 0.8 of a second back now to Giovanni Lucera, who leads in the 2 Cup category. Back now with our race lead. If we look further through the field though, Maxim Volokin is in the lead of Class 3. With the Clios, it's a gap of 1.6 seconds between Anwar and Shanok. And then if we look further back in Class 4, Karim Zahur leads that category by 0.2 of a second. He is behind Tishkanov. And then in the Polo Cup, it is Suave who leads in the number 90 ahead of Rahil Taneja, who has been in the championship for quite some time. And I think this is either the 3rd or 4th different car that I've seen him race in. He's raced in Clios most of his career here in the United Arab Emirates, but has made the jump over to the Polo Cup, which is fantastic to see. There he is in 2nd position, really offering his words of wisdom to the entire team. So there we're looking at the number 10 of Yachminev, who currently sits in 5th position in class behind Stanislav Minsky. That gap is 21.8 seconds, and under pressure actually from his teammate in the likes of the 47 of Maxim Volokin, who sits just 0.5 of a second back in the Cayman GT4 car behind him. And now back with the 82, 37 and 72, with Stanislav Minsky lurking in close proximity in that number 72 car behind Saradin, and that battle's 1.3 seconds between them at the moment. There's a further 1.1 seconds between Shark El Amali and Rawad Saradin. Karim Zahur does get past Tishkanov and moves himself up now into 10th position overall in his Honda DC5. Now again, our race leader is quickest through both Sector 1 and Sector 2 with a 24.854 and a 47.709. Purple through both sectors there. With him being in Class 1, it's been quite a tough ask to latch onto the back bumper. Giovanni Lucera did his best to stay with him in the opening stages of the race, but now drops 2.69 seconds behind. But more importantly, he is the leader in the 2 Cup category ahead of the 82 of El Amali. And speaking of El Amali, he is trying to keep his compatriot at bay, but unfortunately will receive a 10-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Now, we didn't see that on the feed at all, and where he gained that advantage is not known, but that's good news for Awad Saladin, but Shalki is not going to be happy about that at all, because that, of course, relegates him from 2nd, and if Stanislav Minsky can stay within 10 seconds of Saladin and Minsky, that means Al Amali will be actually dropped down to 3rd in class. Sorry, he will actually drop off the podium because there is the Giovanni Lucera car, who is in the lead of this category, and then Al Amali will drop 10 seconds back, and that will put him behind Minsky. As we get our first shots here of the Polo Cup, great to see 3 of them out on track. If I'm not mistaken, there is a 4th one. Hopefully we'll see the 4th car go out later on today. Swerve leads that category in 12th overall in the number 90. That's 3.5 seconds is the gap between the 2 of them, with Taneja being in 2nd, and he's 4.7 seconds up the road from Ritesh Rai in the 18. Now, our race leader, Leka, is purple through Sector 1 and Sector 2 with a 24.5 through the first sector and a 47.5 through Sector 2. Going quicker as Maxim Volokin moves up the order, moving past his stablemate. Yes, they're teammates, but running in 2 different categories. Volokin is in Class 3, where Anton Yechmenev is in the 2 Cup category. So that pushes him down, and unfortunately that puts a car between himself and his closest rival, Stanislav Minsky, who currently runs in 4th, but provisionally he's actually 3rd because of that penalty. And there we see the newest car, well actually one of the newest cars to enter the Procar. The other one is the race-leading Vantage out in front of Letka. So 2 new cars entering the championship this season. I could actually be wrong about that. We may have a 3rd one because that Cayman 981. I'm trying to think back, did we have a Cayman in the previous season last year? Come to me eventually. Now we're looking at Giovanni Machera, the current race leader in 2 Cup by 5.5 seconds over his closest rival, Marina. And of course, those 2 are slowing down because they're locked in battle with one another. But what Marina needs to do now is really try and extend that gap. And of course, the team will be on the radio to him and telling him exactly what's going on, and they'll inform him about that 10-second penalty, which no doubt he will not be happy with at all. He'll definitely be questioning where that happened and why he received the penalty. Now, looking at that gap between himself and his teammate, there was quite a significant gap at the moment as Letka puts Ritesh Rai a lap down in the Polo Cup number 18 car. Now we're looking at another Polo Cup car. Now that was Rahil Taneja behind the wheel of that number 9 car. That is the next car to go a lap down from Letka. But that's what happens when you have different classes in racing here. While they're all contesting for their own podiums, it does get quite complicated out there as well, especially when you start hitting clumps of traffic. And Letka at the moment just finding one by one, just slowing him down ever so slightly, but of course he'll know that Lechera has to deal with them as well at certain points on the lap as well. So of course it still gives him a slight advantage, but just catching him in the wrong place, say turn 9, as we see Zahor on the outside of Anthony Shinok. That is the Alex Renner car from last year. And the DC5 trying to work its way through and past one of the other Clios. I think it's got past one already. Yes, it has. He got past Tishkinov on the previous lap, but now is battling it out with the number 4 car. This is a battle for 9th overall. Not a battle in class, but for overall track position is the lap 57 Honda DC5 trying to make a way through. But that Renault Clio being driven by Anthony Shinok is making it as wide as possible and making Zahor's job as hard as possible to get through, as that is the 82. Now that's the car that has that penalty that will be applied to him at the end of the race, and he needs to now extend that gap that he has between not just his teammate, but of course his rival in the class as well, because those 2 are still within 10 seconds of the 82 at the moment. It's 1.4 back to Saradin, and then a further 4.8 back to Minsky, which keeps him around the 7-ish second mark, as looks like Zahor followed in the tracks of Lidlaka and took position away for 9th overall, passing the Anthony Shinok number 4. And that's important for Avik Anwar as well, because now that puts a car in between himself and his closest rival, as there is Avik Anwar moving off the racing line. And of course, Avik has plenty of experience racing endurance, knows exactly what it's like to deal with traffic, and the last thing he wants to do is impede a faster car behind him, as he's experienced himself. Obviously raced Bangladesh in the Motorsport Games last year. He's doing a full season of Procar here in the United Arab Emirates. Will also be contesting in the Clear Cup Middle East Championship, and that kicks off at the end of the month. So might be some instances where we see him do double duty in 2 races. Not alien to it whatsoever though, because he did it last season as well, when he raced in both the Clear Cup Middle East and in Golf Procar. Back now with the race leader, who seems to be clear of some traffic for now, because he's just gone purple through sector 2 with a 47.5 through sector 2, and across the line he comes to extend that gap between himself and Jeddah. He was 9.9 seconds on the previous lap. Let's see what it will be this time around, as Jeddah working his way through the final corners as we speak. And that gap has gone up to 14.1 seconds. But what's more important to him is the gap between himself and Sharky Al-Amali at the moment, because that's 4.2 seconds. And the good news is to Sharky is he's extending his gap from his teammate. It's now 4.15 seconds between himself and the 37. So that puts a buffer in between him there. but it's still within about just over 9 seconds separating Rawad and Stanislav between Sharky. So he could actually, if he keeps up the space here, he will stay on the podium and he will stay in second. But for the time being, he is still under 10 seconds ahead of those two. Now, interestingly enough, the black and white flag for track limit infringement has come out for his teammate. The 37 receives that warning about track limits, and the team will be on the radio to him to inform him of this and tell him to stop exceeding track limits, because they don't want a second car to incur a penalty. They've got 2 cars on the podium for the time being, and they want to keep both cars on the podium as well. So not great news there for the 37. He's going to have to tidy up the lines that he's currently doing on the track here. And there is the 47, the sole entrant in Class 3, Max Ivonikin, who found a way past his quicker teammates in the 2 Cup class, in the number 10 Anton Yechminev. As now we're looking at Stanislav Minsky in the 72. No stranger to racing here on the YAS Marina circuit or in the United Arab Emirates is Minsky, and still technically in contention for a podium, but he needs to pick up the pace if he wants to stay on that, thanks to that penalty for the 82 that will be applied at the end of the race. So just over 11 minutes remaining. Here's another car that was under the watchful eye of the stewards, but Nucera in 2 Cup is the leader by 4.2 seconds at the moment, make that now 5.4 seconds over his closest rival in the 82. As Giovanni is in the number 16. He's the race leader in that class, currently second overall, 17.2 seconds adrift to Lidlaka, but that's not the battle that he wants to be a part of. He wants to ensure that he is out in front in his class. Now, car number 20 will see the black and white flag next time it comes across the line for track limit infringements, and that is the 3rd place car in the Renault Clio category, Roman Tishkinov, who receives that warning. He's 2.7 seconds back from his rival, Anthony Shanok, who had a car in between himself and Roma, but now with Kareem getting through, that means there is no car, and that battle will start to brew in the closing stages with 10 minutes to go. Swerve in the number 90 in the 12th position overall, leading the Polo Cup category here at the moment, ahead of seasoned veteran Rahil Taneja by 6.3 seconds to the good. And then Ritesh Rai at the tail end by 9.1 seconds, but still in contention for a podium in class, in the Polo Cup class, that is. A personal best through Sector 1, though, for Ritesh in the 18 with a 30.499. Can he get quicker through Sector 2 and kind of close that gap up between himself and Rahil, who's just up the road from him now. If you look at the previous lap times between the two of them, a 2:22.220 for Rahil, and for Ritesh, a 2:22.803, so about 0.6 of a second between them. But it's their rival who is out in front, Swerve, who is almost 2 seconds quicker on the previous lap compared to the 9 and 18. But Lecker across the line again, as is Nucera. Gap drops to 19.86 seconds. But that gap between himself and Shankel Amali continues to expand here, up to now 5.6 seconds to the good in the 82. Now Rawad Saladin is across the line in the 37 with a personal best there of 1:59.660. Across the line comes Rawad, and no more infringements have popped up for him at the moment, which is good to see. So he's tidied up the line. The team's been on the radio to him and told him, just relax, don't need to push it too hard. This is the first race of the season. You don't want to lose points, and you don't want to be dropped off that podium either, because of course Raptor Racing won not 1 but 2 cars on the podium, and right now they have 2 cars on the podium. There is Avik Anwar, our race leader in the Renault Clio category in the 71. Last time round was a 2:21.879, but that was his best lap time. A 2:22.059 was his best. Now, interesting enough, just Swerve has got past Roman Tishkinov. Didn't realise that they were that close. But that moves the Polo Cup leader up a position, and more importantly, puts a car in between himself and his closest rival of Rahil Taneja. And Roman Tishkinov, he certainly had the pace in qualifying, was the pole sitter, but now has lost pace in this race here with just over 7.5 minutes remaining. now he's got to do battle, because if he wants to get back close to Anthony Shannock, he's going to have to put his foot down and get back past that number 90 Polo Cup car. As the race leader works his way through turn 16, and he'll come across the line to complete a lap number 9 there at a 1:56.114. The best lap of the race so far for Litlaka. And back now in traffic. Behind him was Anton Yechmenev, but now it's Maxim Volokin who is in front of him and moves off the racing line to allow the quicker number 7 through, as Nucera across the line as well. 23 seconds adrift, but more importantly, he is ahead of Sharky El Amali. But let's see if Sharky can close that gap up. It's 5.7 seconds that time round, but now traffic is going to play a key factor in this race, especially for those that are in close proximity to their rivals, as it looks like Swerve is not done with the Clios just yet, as he's going to take the inside line away from Anthony Shannock and goes on the inside through turn 9. Says thank you very much, as Anthony tries to repay the favour but can't quite close that gap up through turn 9. So that's another position gain for the number 90, puts him now 2 cars ahead of his closest rival. And what could have been for qualifying for that young man there, the karting instructor in India, does a bit of racing here and there, and has now come across to the United Arab Emirates to show what the Polo Cup cars can do here, as he carves his way through the field, and that will put him 10th overall. It'll be the first time we see a Polo Cup car inside the top 10 as well. And now with the race leader in the Renault Clio class, the 71 of Avaganwa, started second, the sole representation from Bangladesh, a former winner in Golf Procar, not just a race winner, but a champion as well in the 86 category. He still does have the 86 in his garage, but has decided to hop on board the Renault Clio that he has. Now there's a yellow flag down at turn 13. Now, is there someone that's gone off and gone for a quick spin? It may be the case, as that yellow flag has been withdrawn. So good news is that that is an overtaking opportunity been given back, essentially, because that turn 13 complex just underneath the W Hotel Bridge is a prime spot for overtakings. Litlaka across the line there in purple through sector 3 once again for our race leader. Now sitting 25.2 seconds ahead of Giovanni Nucera as he comes up on the back marker Clios here at the moment, and the Polo Cup, because that's a Polo Cup car he's just gone past. Now 2 laps back here at the YAS Marina circuit. This is round 1 of Golf Procar. Litlaka leads in class 1 in 2 car. It is Nucera from El Amali and Saladin with top 3, who sit 2nd, 3rd and 4th overall. In class 3, Maxim Volokin is your race leader, and in the Clios is Avaganwa from Anthony Shannock and Roman Tishkinov. In class 4, it's Karim Zahor, and in the Polo Cup, it is Ojas Swerve in the 90 ahead of Rilhan Toneja and Ritesh Rai in the 9 and 18 respectively. 4 minutes remain on the clock here for our 25-minute race here. Although on our timing screen it shows that there are 3 minutes remaining. Now that's interesting. There was a minute extra on the, or a minute gone off the clock, but there you can see on the starting gantry it also says 3 minutes 46 seconds. So we'll go with what we have on our timing screens here. So that Litlaka continues to lead here, and doesn't have to look back too frequently, but does have to keep his eye ahead of him here as he is back once again with the traffic. Now the number 7 is making his way through the final corner and tucked in behind Karim Zahor. We'll put him a lap down. It puts him now 2 laps down from our race leader, the number 7 Litlaka. Nucera is 2nd, 25.2 seconds adrift, and Nucera now working his way through turn 15 and make his way through turn 16, and still in that all-important position, the race lead in 2 Cup at the moment in the 16, ahead of Sharky El Amali, who looks like he will retain that position at least for the time being. Although looking at where Rawad Saladin is at the moment, he's only 6.4 seconds adrift, so there could be a slightly different podium from what we see on our timing screens here, because El Amali picked up that 10-second penalty earlier on in the session. Now the good news is he's 10 seconds ahead of Stanislav Minsky, because he is a further 8.8 seconds back from Saradin. But Rawad is still within close proximity, and he's still within that 10-second threshold, so he could take the second step of the podium here in the 82 car. But we still have 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock, so we'll have a see what happens in the closing stages here of Golf Procar race number 1. The car, number 57, received a black and white warning flag for track limit infringements. That is our race leader in Class 4. That's Karim Zahur, who's currently 9th overall. Wants to be a bit careful here. And no doubt Dad will be on the radio telling him, don't do it anymore, because you do not want to receive a 10-second penalty, because that would drop him out of 9th position overall. Now, we do have a battle brewing here for second in class in the Renault Clios, because the gap between Chinook and Tishkinov was only 1/10 of a second at the line last time round. So the battle for second in class in the Renault Clios is certainly on here between the 4 and 20. Now, how much closer can Romain get, or has he got through and passed already? It looks like the 20 may have got through. They're currently working their way through sector 3. Through turn 11 they go, and the 20 is being shown as ahead now of the number 4. So that might be move done and dusted from Romain Tishkinov, but it doesn't bring him any closer to Avik Anwar, because there's quite a significant gap between himself and the leader in class. So is this one lap to go here for Lidlaka, as we look at his car making its way through sector 1 and across the timing beacon there. Indeed, it does look like this is the final lap of the race here. So Lidlaka leading by how much? It was 25 seconds to the good. No, it's not, because Nucera, what has happened to Giovanni Nucera in the 16? Sharky El Amali now goes to the lead of the 8 in the Cup 2 category. Rawad Saradin through. And now Rawad really needs to put pressure on here and really needs to get going, because he is only 9.2 seconds ahead, and Giovanni Nucera is in the pit lane. What has happened to the 2 Cup leader? He was sitting comfortably ahead of the 82, 37 and 72, but now those 3 will run first, second and third in class, and now there's a lot more at stake for Saradin, because he could be the winner of the class. He has to stay within 10 seconds of El Amali, but that's heartbreaking for Giovanni Nucera, and it doesn't look like he'll be coming out of the pit lane anytime soon. This is also good news for Yatrinev as well, because now he'll be 4th in 2 Cup. Maxim Lonikin will move up into 5th overall, and that is Anthony getting back past the number 20 of Roman Teshkinov. And look who's behind them as well. It is the Rahil car by the looks of it coming through, but Lidlaka is working his way through the final corners, the checkered flag at the ready, and it'll be a great way to start the weekend for him, and a great way to start the season with a race victory for Lidlaka and the number 7. Across the line and never had to look back at all. 32.8 seconds adrift is the second place car of Sharky El Amali. And how much is the gap going to be between himself and the Raptor Racing teammate and compatriot Rawad Saradin in the 37? Will he be able to stay 10 seconds ahead? We will have to wait and see when they come across the line. The 82 working its way through turn 16. Now that is the El Amali car, and that is the car that wants to be 10 seconds ahead, and it looks like he might just do it as well, as there he is, provisionally on the top step of the podium in class. There is Avik Anwar as well. He is the race winner in Renault Clios. Just swerved behind him as well. He takes the victory in class for the Polo Cup as well. A great drive there after starting from pit lane. And Rawad Saradin across the line, 11.4 seconds adrift from El Amali. So he'll settle for second. Stanislav Minsky across the line in 3rd in class. Giovanni Nucera, interesting enough, still shown as 5th. So Maxim Volokhin and Anton Yechminev did not get those positions, and they are shown as 6th and 7th respectively. It's Avik Anwar who takes the win in the Clios. Maxim Volokhin takes the win in Class 3. Karim Zahur takes the win in Class 4. Roger Swerve takes the win in Polo Cup ahead of Rahil Taneja and Ritish Rai. In the Clios, though, it's Anwar from Chinook and Tishkinov, who had a great battle there towards the end of the race there. 0.3 of a second was the gap at the line. It was Giovanni Nucera, though, unfortunately, from a race victory, had to come into the pit lane on the penultimate lap. So we'll be looking for redemption in race number 2, which will take place later on today. Let's have a look at what time we will be racing in Procar. We'll be racing again at 4:50 local time here at the YAS Marina circuit for the second of 2 sprint races. Golf Procar will only race today. Now, interesting, car number 47 must have done something because they're being summoned to the officials' office. That's an interesting note that's popped up on our timing screen, but there is Lidlaka. He pulls into position, and a well-deserved victory there for Lidlaka and the Aston Martin Vantage V8 as well. Alongside him will pull Sharky El Amali and Rawad Saladin, with El Amali taking the race victory in class in 2 Cup, excuse me. Don't think he would have expected that, but he will be a very happy race winner as Lidlaka over across to the team for a quick debrief. And of course, talking through what happened and see if there are any adjustments to be made to the car as well. There is Al Amali on your right-hand side, pulling his Porsche 992 Cup car into position. And then on the left-hand side, you will see the second of our Lebanese drivers in the field. Rawad Saladin will pull into position as he's being guided there now. Second in class and third overall. A great finish there for Raptor Racing for their 2 drivers. And there you see the teams very excited there and having a quick chat about the results. As out they get. As more of our winners pulling into position. You can see our Polo Cup winner there as well. Just Swerve pulls in to the middle, just behind the Aston Martin. And let's have a look at the provisional results here at the YAS Marina circuit for race 1 of the Golf Procar. It is Lidlaka who wins by 34.2 seconds and is the overall winner in Class 1 as well. Sharky El Amali for Baron Motorsport and Rawad Saladin in second and third, but more importantly, they'll be on the first and second step of the podium in class. For Enrico Flagenti Racing, Stanislav Minsky will sit on the third step of the podium with HRT Performance. Giovanni Nucera, unfortunately coming across the line, but a lap down and finished in the pit lane. Big Red Racing have 2 cars inside the top 10 as well, with Maxim Volokin and Anton Yechminev in 6th and 7th, with Avik Anwar, our race winner in the Clio Cup category, in 8th position. Ojo Swerve for Buzzing Hornet Racing wins in the Polo Cup from Karim Zahur in lap 57. Anthony Chinook for ARM Motors in 11th, with Roman Tesranov sitting 3rd in the class, in the Clios, with Continental Racing. And then it's the 2 Buzzing Hornet Racing, Rahil Taneja and Ritesh Rai in 13th and 14th respectively. So that brings an end here to race 1 of Golf Procar. We look forward to what will happen in the second race taking place later today. And I think we can have a look at some highlights here of the first race for Golf Procar to see and relive all the exciting action that we had on track as we prepare ourselves for the second race of the day. We'll also have the podiums, but let's take a look at the highlights.
and gentlemen, as the Golf Radical Cup cars are making their way out of pit lane, let's now have the podium presentation for Golf Procar. So there are 3 podiums to get through here, but we'll start with Class 2 Cup. In third position, please welcome Stanislav Minsky. And great to have Stanislav Minsky back in the championship. An experienced endurance racer and sprint racer in his own right. And he'll sit on the third step of the podium. Next up in second place, please welcome Rawad Saradin. He's had a lot of fun here this weekend and is looking forward to race number 2 to improve his position over his teammate because, of course, on the top step of the podium, please welcome Shoki Al-Amali. And for Baron Motorsport, great to have both drivers on the podium there as well. But now let's hand over some trophies. So we first invite Hisham to help us present the third place trophy. I was told Hisham would be the one to go out first. Indeed he is. Here is Hisham to present the third place trophy in Class 2. Stanislav Minsky. We then invite Khalud to help us present the second place trophy in Class 2. Rawad Saradin. And is Khalud ready with the second place trophy? Hisham, do you want to go get Khalud real quick? Here she is. So Khalud is coming out now with a second place trophy. Give it up once again for Rawad Saradin. And to present the winner's trophy in Class 2, please welcome Jumana from the Marshals team, who will help us present the winner's trophy to Shoki Al-Amali. And a well-deserved victory there as well. I don't think he quite expected it, to be honest, but with Nucera having that issue on the penultimate lap, well, it gave Shoki his first ever victory in Class 2 here in Procar. And I can't wait to see what he can do with his team later on for Baron Motorsport. Great effort for them as well to have not one but 2 cars on the podium. Gentlemen, pictures ready for the photographers. And I think we can now move on to our next category as pit lane gets very busy here with the Golf Radical Cup cars making their way through pit lane. So we'll just wait for the final ones to come through. And we'll see you guys later on. Your Class 2 winners there, or 2 Cup. Now then, shall we bring out the winners in the Clio Cup? I think we should. Now then, in third position in the Renault Clio class, please welcome Roman Tishkanov. And Roman is ready to be on the podium here for the first time. One of the youngest drivers that we have here in the field. Now let's bring out our next driver. He finished second, a magnificent battle as well with Roman he had. Please welcome Anthony Shannock. And here is Anthony in his first race, visiting the second step of the podium. But the top step of the podium is reserved for a driver who's already won championships and is looking for another one this season. Please welcome to the top step of the podium, Avik Anwar. And Avik has seen the top step of the podium multiple times in various categories, not just here in the United Arab Emirates, but around the world, and a great way to start off his campaign. And let's bring out the marshals once again. We invite Hisham once again to present the third place trophy in the Renault Clio category to Roman Tishkov. As the long walk there with trophy in hand, a great race there from Roman to be third overall in a highly competitive Renault Clio category. Next up, we'll invite Khalud to help us present the second place trophy in Class 2, Anthony Shannock. And another great drive from him as well, sort of great battle with him on track with numerous drivers. but came across the line in second in class. So we're looking to do one better in race number two, excuse me, later on. We've just had race number 1. But now, the winner in race 1, and we invite Jomana to help us present the winner's trophy to Avik Anwar. It's not easy swapping from one car to the other. Raced the 86 last season, raced in the Clio Cup this season. But of course, if there's anyone that can do it, he ran the entire Clio Cup Middle East Championship last season. He knows the car pretty well, and he's certainly going to be a dominant force here in the Renault Clio category. And after this, we just have one more trophy presentation to do, and that will be for Polo Cup. And I can imagine for the Buzzing Hornets, they're going to be absolutely delighted with this. Because not 1, not 2, but 3 cars will be on the podium from the team. So, without further ado, let's bring out 3rd position in the Polo class. Please welcome Ritesh Rai. In 2nd position, please welcome Rahil Taneja. And last but not least, our winner in the Polo Cup category. If only he started on the track instead of pit lane, what could he have done? Please welcome Ojaswav. Great to see all of the Polo Cup guys get out there on track. It's a shame they started from pit lane. It would have been incredible to see what they could have done. They were on the grid for the start of the race. Now let's bring out Hisham once again to help us present the 3rd place trophy in class to Ritesh Rai. As Hisham will make the long walk over to the podium presentation area. And in the meantime, why don't we bring out Khaloud as well to help us present the 2nd place trophy, which goes the way of Rahil Taneja. Khaloud has trophy in hand. She will also make the long walk over to present the 2nd place trophy in the Polo Cup category. And then last but not least, we invite Jomana back one more time to help us present the winner's trophy in the Polo Cup category to Ojaswav. And what a race it has been. We look forward to the 2nd race later on today and see what the Buzzing Hornets can do. Hopefully this time they're not on the pit lane, and this time they will start on the grid as well, as that number 90 is a very quick Polo Cup car indeed. It'll be great to see what they can do. But for now, that's a wrap. We'll move on now to Golf Radical Cup for race number 2.